Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Thunder Weekly. I'm Rick Heath. With me, Mark Rogers. And Mark, we're at great place, Deep Deuce, Bar Cicchetti. Great brunches, great dinners, great drink specials, all available right here at Bar Cicchetti. And they feature Wander Folk Spirits, of course. Wander Folk Spirits, one of the great distillers of spirits here, Oklahoma, made in Guthrie. Mark, the Thunder's agony is almost over.
That's correct. About 7 games left in the season right now. There's some games to look forward to. Perhaps the Thunder could eliminate the Lakers from the playoffs.
That's the only thing I'm hoping for.
Trae Young is coming to Oklahoma City. There's a tanking showdown game with Detroit. Utah, Denver, some divisional rivals on the schedule, as well as Portland. And it's been a fun year, I think. It's been a crazy year. There's been all kinds of crazy things happen, but I think that we can put the tanking era to rest at the end of these next 7 games.
I have found the bottom.
Okay.
And the bottom was Thunder at Portland. That is the worst NBA basketball game I can ever imagine seeing. I mean, my memory is not clear enough to think back anything worse than 25, 30 years ago, but good gracious, that was horrible.
Well, they still scored 260 points.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's like NBA basketball is exciting, but you're right. With all of the players that were listed as out for Oklahoma City and Portland in that game, that's not typical of the talent you would see in any NBA floor.
19 players, most ever, listed as out for any one NBA game.
Yeah. Well, and again, players like Isaiah Roby building up a resume for a great night on the floor and hitting a big 3-point shot in the clutch for a potential spot on the roster in Oklahoma City or a potential spot on the roster around the NBA. And don't blame him. He's a second-round guy that's fighting for his NBA life.
You can't at all. And that's the one thing about this Thunder team is the different from the other Portland or Detroit or Houston. These guys have in their every one of them want to excel and win and progress. I'm not sure that's the case in all of the others. Maybe it is. I don't follow them as carefully. But this team has got a winning culture, and they're building on that, and we'll talk about that when we get back. Hey, we are at Bar Cicchetti in Deep Deuce on 2nd Street here in Oklahoma City, a great place for dinner. They have a fantastic menu. They got great drink specials and a great bartender that will make you whatever you would like, especially if you're asking for Wander Folk Spirit. But come down here. They also have a great brunch here at Bar Cicchetti, Deep Deuce on 2nd Street. We'll be right back after this.
EDS Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for auto body repair. Whether it be from hail damage, dents, scratches, or even glass replacement and repair, we can accommodate all your needs. Locally owned and operated since 2005, EDS Paintless Dent Repair is here for you. Give us a call at 405-476-1763 or go to edspaintlessdentrepair.com.
Okay, sports fans, we do the Thunder Weekly each week, but there's a lot of things I like to support that are Oklahoma products. I like to go around and do shows from Oklahoma businesses, but one of the businesses I want to talk about is Prairie Wolf Distillery, now Wander Folk Spirits. Wander Folk Spirits distilled out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Great line of spirits. They have Wander Folk Gin, Wander Folk Vodka, and Old Moses Bourbon. All of these are quality products. And they're distilled right here in Oklahoma. So if you come to like Cohiba Lounge, ask for a Wander Folk Gin and Tonic, or ask for a Wander Folk Vodka and Tonic, or a club special. It's getting where you can get that now. It's getting warmer. A vodka club special made with Wander Folk Vodka. Great selection, and you're supporting Oklahoma businesses. So support Oklahoma business. Ask your favorite restaurant or bar to carry Wander Folk Spirits.
At Laser Light Skin Clinic, our most popular treatment is now more affordable than ever. Right now, you can save up to 50% on Cool Sculpting, the #1 choice for non-invasive fat reduction. Our flexible treatment plans allow you to choose the option that is perfect for you. Focus on a single problem area or revive your life with a fresh new you. These are real results. For your personal Cool Sculpting consultation, call Laser Light Skin Clinic today. A new you awaits.
1978, before the internet, before cell phones. That's when Basie's Roofing was founded. A lot has changed since then, but what hasn't is Basie's commitment to helping customers just like you deal with damage to their roofs and home after a storm. You never pay up front and there's absolutely zero risk. It's been that way since 1978. Now maybe we're a little old-fashioned, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, well, give us a call.
Basie's Roofing, the name you can trust.
And welcome back, Thunder Weekly. Rick Heath, Mark Rogers from Barchichetti in Deep Deuce, where they feature Wander Folk Spirit. Wander Folk Spirit distilled right here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Great. Same old Moses bourbon, great bourbon if you like a good smooth bourbon. They also have vodka, gin, and a wonderful coffee coffee liqueur that will make your coffee so much better on those brunches. Mark, you know, there's the players that are playing right now, as you stated, and you can't understate this at all, is that they are playing for their NBA careers. That's why they're giving so much effort. That's why they're trying so hard. You know, a lot of the Thunder fans were callously complaining about winning against Portland because it lessens their percentages. Well, it's a very small percentage, number one. But yet, they were giving the Thunder players a hard time for winning. And I'm going, why in the world would you belittle this wonderful effort that you see from the Thunder players each and every night?
Yeah, it's just a tough spot to be in. I think that, you know, you really, in terms of the NBA's eyes, you're going to draw some attention if you're doing things that aren't sound to try to win games. So that's not part of the tanking process. The tanking process is throwing a roster out there that doesn't have your best 7 or 8 players playing on it. So, and Oklahoma City, these guys have developed here. I think the culture of Oklahoma City, there's an organizational culture, and then I think there's a basketball culture on the floor, which for Oklahoma City is really solid. Mark Daigneault has got these young guys to kind of buy in and believe that what they're doing is the best for their NBA careers. And I think we've seen some improvement. Whereas for guys with Portland, you don't see a whole lot of experience on that roster. They've just got some guys that they're throwing out there that really haven't had a chance to play around each other very much. And so, look, at the end of the day, 2 things have to happen that are very important. You're going to need a little luck in the lottery, no matter where you are. Even if you're the number 1 spot, you still need some luck to get the number 1 pick. 2, you got to make a good pick, and you got to hit on that. And I think that this year's draft, you know, we don't really see the foreign influence on draft projections until you really start to do a little bit more deep dive after the college season is over. And right now, there are 4 or 5 really good college players that are available. I think you'll see a couple of foreigners go in that top 10, and I think it's a pretty deep talent pool this year. It's deeper than it was last year, and the depth that we talked about in the draft last year, Oklahoma City ended up with a guy that won the Western Conference Rookie of the Month every month that he played. And so I think, you know, again, last year, people, who knows what would have happened if they lose the last game to the Clippers. I don't know what the draft pick is, but they ended up with a pretty good player, Josh Giddey. I think they're going to definitely end up with at least 1 really good player in the draft this year.
Well, okay, 2 things real quick. Number 1, as far as drafting, when you look at what Sam Presti ended up drafting last year and the players' effect on the squad, you had Giddey, like you said, Trey Mann, those were 2 first-rounders. Then you had JRE and you had Aaron Wiggins. All 4 of those are solid NBA players. 2 for sure, and Giddey and Mann, and then Wiggins and JRE look to be very solid NBA players. And that's a great draft for where he was drafting last year.
Totally agree. I think at some point in time, if you really want to win a championship, you're going to have to hit on a superstar, and that's what's difficult to do. There was some radio discussion in the past week, like if you look at the Philly process, look at how many high picks and number 1s that Philly had overall, number 1 picks.
Yes.
And it's not, they don't have a championship.
No.
And I know that this year, pretty good idea to get a championship, but they've had to trade away a lot of pieces to do that. So just getting number 1 picks and all that stuff doesn't guarantee you a championship. Oklahoma City's well on its way for being a competitive team with the draft picks they have coming up, but championships are never promised, and usually they're won by big markets, so it's going to be a challenge to get to that point.
Well, and then the second thing I was going to mention, you talk about Roby. Roby is improved himself, improved the stock in the NBA. He should be a piece for the Thunder to use moving forward. Somebody like Lindy Waters, okay? Lindy Waters has been a great story. I mean, there's not a better story in the NBA than Lindy Waters. He's come from basically a minor league cast-off team to the NBA in less than 6 months. And he had over 200 fellow Native Americans in attendance at Denver when the Thunder were up there. And they stayed around after the game, and he went out of his way to interact with it. So if the Thunder can't use Lindy Waters, Denver Nuggets, can you hear me? All those people showed up, and they would continue to show up even if Lindy Waters was on the roster.
Basketball is widely important to Native Americans in Oklahoma and the United States, western part of the United States, really everywhere. So I'm glad to see Lindy having that impact. And, hey, he's knocking down about 4 threes. He's getting a lot of attempts, but if he can show that he can shoot 40%, then I think he'll have a home in the NBA.
I hope so. It's a great story, and I hope that he does have a place. Hey, we'll talk a little bit more coming up about who's going to be on, who may not be on the Thunder when we get back here from Thunder Weekly.
EDS Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for auto body repair. Whether it be from hail damage, dents, scratches, or even glass replacement and repair, we can accommodate all your needs. Locally owned and operated since 2005, EDS Paintless Dent Repair is here for you. Give us a call at 405-476-1763 or go to edspaintlessdentrepair.com.
1978, before the internet, before cell phones. That's when Basie's Roofing was founded. A lot has changed since then, but what hasn't is Basie's commitment to helping customers just like you deal with damage to their roofs and home after a storm. You never pay up front, and there's absolutely zero risk. It's been that way since 1978. Now maybe we're a little old-fashioned, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if it is broke, well, give us a call.
Basie's Roofing, the name you can trust.
Sports fans, Cohiba Lounge and Royal Pipes and Tobacco. Why do I mention those together? Because you got one, you've got the other. Royal Pipes and Tobacco in Norman has the best selection of cigars in Norman. They got a huge humidor with all the top brands. Rocky Patel, Cohiba, of course, and all the other, Romeo Juliet, all the top brands are available at Royal Pipes, and they have great prices on these. And if you'd like, you can walk right next door and adjacent to the Cohiba Lounge, light your cigar up, get a refreshing drink, and watch your favorite sporting event here at Cohiba Lounge, Royal Pipes and Tobacco in Norman, Jenkins and Boyle.
At Laser Light Skin Clinic, our most popular treatment is now more affordable than ever. Right now, you can save up to 50% on Cool Sculpting, the #1 choice for non-invasive fat reduction. Our flexible treatment plans allow you to choose the option that is perfect for you. Focus on a single problem area or revive your life with a fresh new you. These are real results. For your personal Cool Sculpting consultation, call Laser Light Skin Clinic today. A new you awaits.
Let me talk about one of my favorite places in Deep Deuce to eat and drink, and that's Bar Cicchetti. Bar Cicchetti with a great menu, and they're featuring a wonderful brunch. If you haven't had brunch yet at Bar Cicchetti, you got to do it. It's available on Sundays. Wonderful new menu for brunch, and it is inventive and creative, and it changes every week. So if you're looking for a great place for a brunch, Bar Cicchetti on Northeast 2nd in Deep Deuce, great place to go for brunch. And during the week, they have great dinner specials as well as drink specials every day at Bar Cicchetti, Northeast 2nd Street in Deep Deuce. Also, they have the biggest big screen in Oklahoma City to watch your favorite sporting events. So if you're looking for food, drinks, and sports, go to Bar Cicchetti, Northeast 2nd Street in Deep Deuce. And welcome back, Thunder Weekly. Rick Heath, Mark Rogers from Bar Cicchetti, where they feature Wander Folk Spirit. Wander Folk Spirit's great spirits here, distilled, right here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. They have Same Old Moses Bourbon. They have the vodka and the gin flavors. That's Wander Folk Spirits. Available at your favorite restaurant or liquor store. If they're not, ask them to carry Wander Folk Spirits for you. Also, did you know that Neighborhood Jam has 5 locations now in the state? That's right, they have 4 locations in the metro area, Norman, Midtown, 150th and Penn, and Edmond, and also a new one in Tulsa. So if you're looking for a great lunch, brunch, or especially breakfast, Neighborhood Jam is where you need to call or go by, and you can have food to go at that'smyjamok.com. Mark, we were talking about players to be back. I mean, we've got the for real. You got SGA, you got Giddey, you got Dort, you got Trey Mann. From that, you're looking at, who else are they going to be able to keep? I mean, Roby, are they going to keep Roby? Are they going to keep Muscala? Will they keep Kenrich Williams? These are players that are held out this last part of the deal. But if given a chance, I think Sam Presti has everybody else up for negotiations.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, and I think at the trade deadline, there wasn't a whole lot of demand for those assets. I mean, and if there was, Oklahoma City would have parted ways with them in an attempt to rebuild. So I think it all goes in again. What's Lou Dort's contract value? Looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, they've got Jaren Jackson extended on a deal of about $23 million, $25, and escalating up from there. It's a pretty good second contract for the team for a guy that was picked in the top 3 of the draft. So who stays and who goes is all about money, and it's going to be about who's a good value for the price. Some players may get priced out of that range. Lou Dort may be one of them when it comes to time to do that. The Thunder could renegotiate his contract in the offseason and buy him out of his last year, next season, of his first contract. So it's really tough to say who's coming back, who's leaving. All the guys under the rookie contracts are coming back. I think it's the chance to develop.
Yeah, and they should. You got guys like Baisley. Baisley should be coming back. Now, he got the injury here in the last week or so. How that affects him, we don't know. You got Roby, you got Muscala. Muscala has some value. If he went to Sam Presti and said, hey, Sam, come on, man, put me on a contender, Sam would do that. I mean, he's well aware around the NBA that he will help out. Look what he did with Paul George. So there's going to be a lot of that. But they have 3 first-round draft picks next year and 2 second rounds. So there's a lot of players to be added in.
Yeah, that's right. I think Baisley has shown some signs of coming on. I think it's really difficult at times to evaluate the Thunder because when they're playing other teams, not necessarily getting the best effort from other teams. I mean, Oklahoma City's played Denver 4 times this year. The Nuggets are pretty good, but Oklahoma City's run them out of the gym twice. So
yeah, the Nuggets go to Charlotte and thump a pretty good Charlotte team who's in contention for the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I want to see Baisley, to me, try to practice his off the bench game-changing abilities as far as his athletic ability and develop that part of his game, and then he can see if he can space it out to where he can average maybe 15, 16 a game, 6 or 7 rebounds. But right now, I think his future with Oklahoma City is to be a nice positional piece.
A positional piece. Vic Krejci, the young man. Krejci. Vit.
Yeah.
I knew him very well. No, he's been a good surprise. He may have a spot on the end of the bench for him as a kind of a spark off the bench, And you get Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome's a good, solid player. I like Ty Jerome. Does he have a place here? I don't know. With all the things that are happening with all the other guards that the Thunder have, Teo Maledon. I mean, does he have a future here?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think Maledon has got to become a lot better defensively. So, again, what the Thunder face every night, and these guys that are having some success, is kind of like playing in the 8th grade game, and yet there's some seniors down there on the other end of the gym. If you walk down there, it's a little different. Like, if you're in a playoff series, which of these guys don't have the flaws that you can get picked on, for example? Baisley's on the exterior. If he's out, you're going to switch guys onto him. He's not very good on the perimeter guarding people. So those are the things you're going to have to work on if you want to win playoff series. And to me, that should be the bar. We should be talking about, the Thunder are going to win a championship. We're talking about, hey, good enough to win a playoff series, good enough to compete and be relevant in terms of the NBA, have some exposure. That's what I think where Oklahoma City is trying to aim to get back. If the cookie crumbles the right way, you win a championship, that's not
That's
expected.
great, but the chances of that happening are very slim.
Yeah.
Right now, you're exactly right. Looking 2023 and beyond, first get in the playoffs.
Right.
Then win a playoff a playoff series.
Well, it's
there's steps to be taken.
I know we had to take a break, but getting into the playoffs in the West this year wasn't that hard.
No.
I mean, a team right now, the Spurs and the Lakers are 12 games under 500, and they're competing to be in that playing game.
If the truth be known, if they would have kept all of the Thunder players active, they would be playing with it. Hey, we'll be talking about the Western and Eastern Conference playoffs when we get back here on Thunder Weekly. All right. 3, 2, 1, and welcome back. Thunder Weekly, Rick Heath, Mark Rogers from Bartichetti here in Deep Deuce. Great place for Sunday brunch. If you haven't had a Sunday brunch here at Bartichetti, man, you got to look it up. Go on the website at Bartichetti and look at all the different varieties of Sunday brunch they have. Plus, you can get that wonderful Wander Folk Spirit drink to go along with your Sunday brunch right here at Bartichetti, Northeast 2nd Street in Deep Deuce. Real quickly, playoffs in the Western Conference. Suns #1 and comfortably #1.
Yeah, and comfortably the favorite.
Yeah.
Too. They're going to be tough to beat, man. Monty Williams, great coach. Chris Paul brought the winning attitude to that team. Everybody buys in and believes. Devin Booker, to me, is not the superstar that some people say he is, but he's an elite scorer, and it works well with a team that gets really good shots. DeAndre Ayton, good inside. They're the Western Conference favorites. Not sure they're the NBA favorites, but they're the favorites to get out of the West.
I like Monty Williams. I think he's a great coach. #2 in that Western Conference, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Grizzlies are going to have a home seed over the Warriors. So see how that goes. It's an old kind of guard against the new guard.
Yeah.
And the old guard is strung a little bit. They got some.
They're kind of falling off.
Be a good playoff series. That one will be, to me, the best playoff series that we see in the Western Conference.
I want to see that in Ja if he comes back healthy.
Yeah.
That should help the Memphis, even though they're winning without it.
They are.
And you're talking about the Mavs and Jazz. They're 4-5 right there. They're going to be playing each other. The Mavs. The question was, can Jason Kidd get the Mavs playing defense? I think the answer to that's yes.
It is.
They've done well.
It is, yes. And the Mavs do play better defense than the Jazz, who are somewhat limited this year. I would favor Dallas in that, but could go either way.
Clips, Pelicans, Lakers, Spurs fighting for 7 through 10. I would love to see the Lakers on the road getting kicked. Kick them to the side of the road. And the
Wolves, don't forget about the Wolves.
Yeah,
they're in there. Wolves are fighting Utah for positioning. They actually might be able to get into a series against Dallas, but they've had Timberwolves have had a nice year.
Yeah, they've had a nice year, and they're looking at 6 or 7 spot right there.
Yep.
And so however that falls out. Eastern Conference, a little bit more jumbled. Right now Celtics were, and then they got beat. So now it's all Celtics, the 76ers, the Bucks. All those are in the mix.
Kyrie's back full time. That's big. It is a circus at the top of the East for home court. That's nuts. That's a great finish to the season.
I got something for you.
Yeah.
Tank at the top. That's what you got to look for in the East. Who's going to tank? Because nobody wants the Nets in the second round.
No one wants the Nets, and I think if you're the Hawks, you don't want the Nets really either. That's going to be a tough spot, where you want to get out of that Sin 9 situation that they're in. And nobody wants to play in Toronto. I don't know. Are the Celtics vaccinated?
Who knows? We haven't even find out.
Well, if that's a series that you have, you can't play with your best players. If that's the reason they didn't play in the regular season game, that's terrible.
Well, and right now the way it's shaking out, all the teams in the East are looking at, okay, what do we have to do to not be one to finish against and play the Nets in the second round? Because if they have to hold out a couple of guys to lose a couple of games, you can bet they're going to do that so they don't face the Nets.
One thing I'm worried about the Nets, I don't think Ben Simmons is going to play.
No.
If he is, he's going to be ineffective. They don't play defense. I mean, Perk has been talking about this a lot when he's been doing his media appearances. They're going to score, but they're really bad at defense. The Nets this year, I just don't think it's just not in the cards to win a championship. They can't outscore people in 7-game series.
Well, you got 2 guys that can score 50.
Yeah.
You got KD and
they're not stopping anyone.
But you can't stop anybody.
No.
So, it's going to be 130 to 129.
Right.
And those kind of games, shootouts, you never know exactly how they roll. The way I would like to see it is I would love to see, the Nets get beat in that second round, because I'm not a Nets fan. I'm not really any kind of a fan of the, I like Boston, I like the Bucks. I like 76ers a little bit, except I'm not a Harden fan. So Toronto would be my dark horse in the East.
If they do it, they're gonna have to do it by winning 3 series on the road, more than likely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. In the East, it's really competitive. We could have some really great series in the playoffs.
I'd love to see in the West. I'd love to see Memphis, just to see a new blood in there.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
They're exciting team to watch.
Even though Chris Paul the third, CP3. I mean, not the third. Oh yeah, Junior the third. Chris Paul Junior the third. No, I'd love to see the Suns go ahead and win in the West just to get Chris Paul a championship. But if it's not the Suns, I'd love to see Memphis just to see a small market team go through it and win it.
Playoffs are going to be great.
I'd love to see it. That's going to do it for this week's version of Thunder Weekly. We'll see you next time on Thunder Weekly.